All right, so everybody. My name is Bob Ali, for those who may or may not know. And I am the host of the upcoming singles event. In fact, we've done about 10 single events at MCC. So basically, in a nutshell, I've been trying to help single Muslims find their other half since 2010 when we started HOD. Thousands of people have found their other half, including many of my friends. In fact, I don't have one single Muslim male friend left. Every single one of them is married, many of them through HOD. So, and I want everyone else to get married. In fact, there was one of the brothers used to come to MCC as a volunteer and used to travel around with me. He even got married and he's happily married. So my goal isn't just to help you guys get married, but more importantly, stay married. And until just, I found out this past weekend, I am the only male married guy doing single events. Every single one of the people that were doing them or still are doing them are all single guys. So even it's becoming a challenge for the people who are organizing events to stay married. And I think that's another major challenge we're having within our Muslim community is one thing for us to get married, but more importantly, stay married. So the way I'm trying to tackle that, is the challenge I'm trying to do is make sure you guys are choosing the right person. So how are we going to do that? Well, there's a couple of different ways we can do single events. One is we can just put you in a room together and say mingle. That's what, for those who've been to Muzz events, that's basically what they do. There's no real structure. It's just a mingling session. Then there's another type that some masjids do, and you see Islamic conferences, and that's the speed dating process. And that's where they're going to have you talk to each person for 3 minutes each, and then decide who you want to marry. And realistically, what can you say in 90 seconds? And I'm saying 90 seconds because I'm assuming you're speaking for 90 seconds, a minute and a half. They speak for 90 seconds, a minute and a half. And then you're going to get to decide who you think is best for you to get married to for the rest of your life. So, as you're probably smiling right now, yes, it is ridiculous. It doesn't work. It was never meant for marriage. The couple who designed speed dating from right here in Southern California, that's where I live, they're a couple, non-Muslim couple, who designed it for dating. It's called speed dating for a reason. So you can go out on a date with somebody, so you can spend a 3-hour evening having dinner and a movie or whatever they do, and not to actually get married. In fact, if you go tell any of your coworkers that I had this event where I talked to each person for 3 minutes, and like, for what? Oh, so I can decide who I want to marry. They'll say, what a strange religion that you guys have. I said, no, it's nothing with our religion. We just do it. So anyways, it doesn't work. If ask anyone who's been to these Islamic conferences, they'll tell you their horror stories. Because what happens is it's lacking structure, it's lacking depth. See, when you don't know anything about the person sitting across from you, you are forced to just spend those 3 minutes asking basic questions like, Assalamu alaikum, where are you from? What do you do? Well, how old are you? And tell me a little about yourself and blah, blah, blah. By the time you get basic surface level, you're already rotating to the next person. There's no depth. So if anyone chooses you, they're choosing you based on surface. So that's not good. You know, you want somebody to, if you have a connection, you want to be some type of depth, some type of quality compatibility, not just someone likes you because of how much money you make or how beautiful or how young you are. That's it, right? But once you provide depth and then you connect, it's a whole different level. So what we do for our singles events, for those who have never been to them, what we do is we try and do activities and not just, oh, let's have a fun game. No, every activity has to have meaning behind it, have to have the reason behind it. So while you're doing these activities, you discover some type of compatibility. You discover if we can be a great team together, or no way, we are a conflict because our personalities don't match. The other thing that you have for HOD events is that every single person at the event, there's a profile of them. And what happens is, because we have these details of each person, their personality, their priorities, their love languages, et cetera, you now have, we have information per person. And what we do with that information is we allow you to see how compatible you are, where you align, where you think alike, and where you think differently. So anytime during the event, you can click on each person and you can see your values and how they match up and how you don't match up. So if you do have a connection, you have starting points of what to talk about. So that's the key. Because if I really wanted to have like high success rate, artificially, I would just try to focus on surface level things for you guys to connect on. The more depth I provide, the more ways people find that we're not compatible. So my goal at the end of the day is not to say, okay, let's get the highest success rate in the world. No, success really only counts if you guys stay married. And the only way I can do that is to show some of the possible red flags in that initial connection that you guys do when you guys meet. So what happens during this program is you're going to see those possible connections and possible not connections, and you go from there. Anyways, so when people do this program, for those who haven't been to it, we're going to be doing these different. They do these different activities, about 4, 5, 6 activities, depending on how much time we have. And then what happens is that during the event and afterwards, they're able to mark the people they find interesting. So that person doesn't, and I'll repeat, does not receive a notification. Instead, at midnight, the system will check to see the people you clicked on if they happen to click on you. And only if it's mutual, you'll get an email. Otherwise, you'll get a message, or they'll get a message that says, I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. They'll get a message that someone anonymously liked you, but you'll never know who they are. And why do we do this? So you can feel safe and comfortable marking people without it feeling awkward if you ever see them in the future, because they'll never know you marked them. And that allows people to possibly have a connection without the fear of rejection, and helps us remove any possible misconnections because people were too scared to mark each other because you don't want to be awkward. But because there's no awkwardness, because they'll never know, people are more likely to mark the people they're interested in. So as you can tell, there's a lot of thought put into this. It's not just cramming a bunch of people into a room. The other last part to mention before we get into other parts and maybe the details of how everything works is that there's usually a very large number of people who apply, and we only accept a fraction of them. So like an event that we did with like 36 people, over 100 people may apply, 135 people may apply. In fact, I think the average number, I have to look it up real quick, is around 200 and something people apply per event. But we only accept about 28% of them. And then you're wondering, why do you do that? Well, it's not us. It's actually you. You see, what other organizations do is they say, oh, and you can go to any Islamic conference, it's the same exact thing. They'll say, hey, the ages for our event is 24 to like 36. And then you ask yourself, oh, that's interesting. Who decided that? Oh, we did. We're the organizers. And the organizers are usually married. So it's like, okay, you're saying that I'm 36, I'm in. But if as soon as I'm 37, I'm no longer qualified to get married. In short, yeah. So they're deciding after this age, you're no longer qualified to come to our event. Now, what they didn't do is what I suggest is that you should ask the attendees, what are they open to? Now, if all the attendees say, look, 36 is our max age that we're all looking for, I think that's fair, because then you don't let people in that are going to feel awkward because no one's looking for them. But when the attendees are open to people above 36 or above 38 or above 40, why are the organizers rejecting those people? That's the part that never made sense. So what we do with Half Our Deen is we ask people, what age are you looking for? What's the maximum age you'll consider, right? And then that's how we've been doing our events. But even then, I'm still thinking about maybe even making that a little bit more flexible. I think just recently I've been reflecting upon like the whole age thing. I think too much weight our communities put on age, and I've seen people become successfully married even outside of their age range, so preferred age range. And the reason not the reason, but what I've noticed is that even if you have preferences, you have certain things that you're looking for, and they're like, these are the things I want in a spouse, right? And then maybe you're not finding that person. But then I'll ask you this question. I say, okay, you have these 8 things you're looking for in a spouse. What if I remove one of them? And those are the things that you really want, by the way. And in exchange, I'll make something else that you're looking for exceptional. So everything else is like okay that other person has, but one is exceptional. Would that be a good trade? And many people are open to that. For example, let's say, for example, you are from, I don't know, whatever country you are from. And you say, I want someone from my own culture, someone from my own country. I said, fantastic. But what if, and no one at this event happened to be, or that you're attracted to at this event, were from the country that you're looking for? So there was a person from a different country that is not your ethnicity. They have everything else you're looking for, and they happen to be exceptional in, I don't know, character, good character. Would you be open to talking to them? Suddenly, like, yeah, if they're exceptional in this or exceptional in this, yes. Right? So a guy says, okay, she's may not be the age I'm looking for, but she's very beautiful. Or girl will say, he's not the age I'm looking for, but he's very successful. You know, it could be something else that could be, okay, that's a tipping point. The key is that if we don't allow ourselves to meet these people, how do we ever discover that exceptional quality about them? And so what I'm doing is I'm thinking, let me be a little bit more flexible on some of the things that I feel like other organizations are doing, so we can do it differently. And this is how Half Our Dean's always been. This is, I think, why we have so many people applying for Half Our Dean events, because not only have they heard positive feedback and even their own experience compared to other events, but overall they want something that has depth, doesn't have just a bunch of, okay, just go and mingle and come back and you just feel like, man, that was a waste of time. Anyways, so let me show you some things a little bit on the back end of it. So I'm going to click on share my screen here. Where's my screen? Okay, so are we share? Okay, share screen. All right, so I'm going to show you guys. This is a dev version of Half Our Dean. This is not real, so just don't. I'm gonna never show you guys. My plan is never to show you guys real people. Okay, so here's the thing that people will see when they log into Half Our Dean, and let me close this. And I'm not showing the phone version of it, so I have to squeeze it down to phone version. Maybe I can do that real quick. Yeah, it's just okay. So as you can see, the compatibility, you'll see each person like this. I'm a sister right now. I'm this female sister. Again, these are just demo profiles. And it shows me their compatibility on quizzes, priorities, personality, tolerance. This is what attendees will see, right? And then they're going to see quiz match percentage. This is why we ask each person to fill out a HOD profile, so people have depth about you. They don't want to just see what you look like. They want to learn more about where you're compatible. So when you click on quizzes, for example, it will show where you guys had different answers. And if you did have the same answer, it will say, hey, you guys had the same answer on this specific question. And you do that with all the quizzes. Now, this next thing that's important here, and maybe I can show you guys something that's valuable even outside of this little Zoom call, is the love languages. You know, people don't really understand what this actually means. So when you have someone's a love language, they're like receiving gifts. It's not just FYI. It's going to tell you what marriage life is going to be like. Because whatever their number one is just as important as their number five. So for example, this person that I'm looking at, this brother, which doesn't really, it's probably AI person, so we're not going to really show you, as I said, a real profile. But this person, they show their gifts they show their love by receiving gifts and giving gifts, right? But they don't show it by words. So a female who cares a lot about receiving nice text messages, I love yous, words of like affirmation, she's going to feel empty in this relationship. Because if this is her number one and this is his number five, she's going to have this constant battle of not feeling loved. All right. But he will say, of course I love you because I'm constantly giving you gifts. Why? Because that's his language of love. But what if receiving gifts is her number five? Like, it's not that big of a deal for her. They're going to be in therapy. They're going to be in constant, the therapist is going to say, okay, what's wrong? He says, I don't feel loved. I don't feel loved either. And they're both doing things in their love language. So the main thing here is understanding who you're marrying, what their main love language is, what's their second, what's their third, whatever, fourth, fifth, and understand this is the way you're going to be receiving love in the relationship. Are you okay with that? This is their friendship qualities. This is how they choose their friends. The most important thing for him is the person's optimistic. The least important thing is for the person being reliable. What does that mean in a marriage? I'll show you that in a moment. Shopping priorities. He cares about quantity. How many things I get. He doesn't care about the price as much or the quality, and the style of something is not that important. This could be very different for her. What is that going to mean in a relationship? Money is one of the major things that people argue about in a relationship, right? So if price is number one for him and number five for her, they're going to have a challenge. Does it mean they're not compatible? No, it doesn't. So don't look at a perfect, see, this is what I said. If the more information I give people, the more they look for reasons why this won't work out. No, everyone you marry, every single person you guys marry, you will have a challenge. You just have to choose what your challenge is going to be. So even if your love language is perfectly aligned, your friendship qualities may not align. If your friendship qualities are aligned, your shopping priorities may not align. You're going to have a challenge no matter who you marry, but at least it gives you an idea of what type of challenge you're going to get. Many people don't know their challenge until they get married. All right, next we go to this person's priorities. The most important thing for him is neatness. The least important thing for him is intelligence. So anytime you guys, by the way, have a green check mark, it means you both chose that as your number one, and this is your number five. So if we had a check mark for number three, quality time, that means we both choose quality time as number three. Hopefully that makes sense. Check marks means you guys align there. Okay. This is their personality. Sorry, this is their personality qualities that they describe themselves as. This is what they're attracted to. This is what drives them crazy. This is what they would not marry. They cannot stand someone who has these qualities. So if you're struggling with these qualities, you may be a challenge for them. Doesn't mean it won't work out. No, it just means that these are things that you're going to be paying attention to. And if you want to know what these different colors mean of these different things, there's a breakdown of it right here. This is why you would be amazing together based on your personality. These are the type of challenges you would have. This is a little bit chemistry prediction. And that's only page one, everybody. On your second page of your profile, you're allowed to put private photos. You'll see this person's interests. And if you notice, none of these are highlighted in blue. If me, my demo profile, this female, and him had these same ones in common, they will highlight in blue. All right, let's move over to deal breakers. We're almost done here. These are the 5 deal breaker questions that he has. These are questions he wants you to answer. So if you want to filter people out before you speak to them, you may want to put your important questions here. And if they answer these questions the way you like, then you can take it to the next level. This helps you filter out the many messages you may receive that says salams. You have no idea who they are. Okay. Last but not least, analysis. This is something new. I haven't even announced it, but I just kind of snuck it in there. This is where it looks at all those quizzes that we just were talking about, and it says where you're aligned, and where you're different. These are things you guys are both similar. You guys think exactly the same on these subjects. Do you have any siblings? We both have siblings. And what does that mean since the fact that you both have siblings, right? Where do you guys think differently? So this is one of the questions we both said, do you want a lot of activities? He says no, she says yes. And what will the challenge be because you guys said no? These are all the differences that we have between each other. As you can tell, there's a lot between this guy and her. And then these are the things we have in common, which isn't that much. Okay. But it's normal to have a lot in common. This may be a little bit too much, but and then there's some fun facts about you. Maybe you both like vanilla, maybe you both like ice cream. I don't know. But these are just fun facts. It will not make or break a relationship. You kind of want to go through these and see, okay, do you want to have children? He says no, she says yes. What does this mean? And how is that going to impact the marriage? Right. Next is harmony. You remember the priority section we talked about, the top 10 priorities? It's the same thing. It says, okay, if number one is neatness for him, what would that mean in your relationship, right? And what would it mean if these are his top threes and these are his bottom threes, and he doesn't want desire for children, right? He doesn't want kids. What is that going to mean? So, and then that will break down for you. It also tells you if you guys have anything in common in any of these things, right? And then we didn't have any check marks here, which we don't have these 3 in common. And what is that relationship going to be like in a marriage? Then we move down to love languages. We just talked about that, but now let's break it down into more detail. See, Baba Ali's doing something on a Zoom call, but you need Baba Ali to be sitting next to you when you're doing all this, right? So you don't have to have me sitting next to you, because here it tells you, okay, here's a perk about marrying someone who has receiving gifts, right? When your partner's main love language is receiving gifts, you'll receive thoughtfulness in a tangible form. They're not just giving you random presents or paying attention to the book you mentioned months ago, or replacing something you need before you realize it's worn out. That's the benefit of marrying a guy who's receiving gifts. Is number one. Now, what about his bottom 5? Words of affirmation. Marrying someone who doesn't default to words of affirmation means that they do compliment you, is probably genuine. You won't deal with constant verbal validation that can sometimes feel insincere. Instead, you'll learn to recognize in more subtle but meaningful ways. And that's that. And then so if there's any alignment, it will show up here. It does the same thing with friendship qualities and other stuff like that. And then just today, this morning, right before this call, we're breaking down the commonalities, where this won't be on your profile just yet, but maybe after this call, it might be, maybe this later today. But basically, if you're from a different country, these people are, what type of challenge you're going to have? Different ethnicity, what type of challenges me? If you speak the same language, is that a perk? What is that going to be like? How many interests you have in common? Are those interests the same? Right? We don't have any interests in common. Why you currently don't have any shared common interests? We noticed that when we clicked on his profile. And is there an age difference? He's 46, 29. Yes, there's a significant age gap. So the difference might mean very different life stages. So it gives you a heads up. Now, with all of these different things, like Abab Ali, this is a lot. It is a lot. And what we do to even make it another layer is to give you questions. So these are questions that have been generated specifically since she clicked on his profile of the differences you guys have with each other, only on the differences. So when you guys get on a phone call together or you guys talk to each other, these are the questions you guys bring up. So you don't have to sit there and analyze each person's profile to figure this to discuss these things. To discover these things. You can learn the differences, and it generates the questions you guys need to ask each other. See, we don't need to do all this stuff. You know, anyone can just say, okay, just go here. We'll take your money, go and talk. You have some little finger food, and we'll just sit there and watch. Or we can put this much thought into it. And MCC has an option to do any type of single event they want. And they specifically want to do this type of single event because they want success. They're more focused on success than profit, or success than, oh, just putting a bunch of how many people we got into a room. And that's one of the reasons why my relationship with them has been so strong, is because we're very similar minded. So my goal, I rather have 25 people in a room that are more likely to be compatible than 100 people that are just going to be just shoving them into a room just to say we got 100 people. Because at the end of the day, it's the marriages that are important, and the marriages that last. So when you guys come to an event, what is it like? What is the process like? You guys are going to fill out these. When you go to when you go to babali.com, they're going to see different events. You've clicked on the Pleasanton event, and you fill out your information. And then someone from the team, Sister Shakira, goes through all the different answers and hence selects the people she thinks most likely to be compatible. Then she sends you a payment request. And then you send your payment in, and then you go to the next step is you'll get information about the event. You're going to get the actual timing, address, all that stuff, usually. And the ones we're doing at MCC are generally at MCC. So when you get to the event, you'll have a name badge printed that has assigned what table you're going to start from, and you're going to rotate to. So certain tables, you're probably wondering, well, how come I'm not rotating to table number 5? I only rotate to table number 4. Well, because you said your maximum age is this, and that person at that table is going to be above your maximum age. But I like that person. I want to meet that person. They don't even look their age. Well, this is the problem, is that we keep asking you guys what you want, and then when we give you what you want, you're like, no, don't forget, just ignore whatever I said. So that's why I'm saying I'm putting too much weight into the exact number, because let's be realistic. Most people don't know the exact age. Like, and they don't, and you look at somebody, they don't even look their age. I look at a 36-year-old sister. She doesn't even look 36. She looks like 32. Like, how would I know 36 is a magic number? Right? You know what I mean? I tell people all the time, I use myself as an example. I'll be 51 this year. Like, oh, you don't look 51. I say, it's exactly my point. There are people who don't look their age, so why do we put so much weight on the age, right? There's people who have different levels of energy. Your energy may give you idea of that you or more activity in your life. That makes a big difference. So, anyways, the point is that you're going to get to the event, and we're going to be doing rotations. Even then, there are rotations we do from tables, and there's room activities that we do, like everyone's participating with everybody. And throughout these activities, again, your app is there. You mark the people you're open to, et cetera, and that is it. The game, that is the program in a nutshell. So I know I went to a lot of detail. I'm trying to show you the back end. If anyone's interested, I can actually show you the stats too. I can show you what percentage of people match at an event. It's about over 50% match at a typical event. So now I guess hopefully I answered some of the questions that people had generally about how things work and why we have a half Ardeen profile. I show you a sneak peek about the analysis section. They don't even have it live on their app yet. That new part I just showed you. And that's it. So if anyone has, I think we maybe can go through some of the questions. Sister Har, I don't have the question
Yeah.
screen open.
Um, yeah, we can jump into the questions, inshallah, but I also, I don't know if you want to take a couple minutes to kind of also explain how this event, the Spark Connection, is a little different than the
Yes.
offline event.
Mhm. Perfect. Okay, yeah, actually, and we can actually jump into, let me see if I can get to HOD Live real quick. Oh, I gotta go back to sharing my screen. Sorry. Bu- 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 Share screen. Okay. So what are we doing with Spark sessions? And the way Spark sessions work, here, let me actually show what I see on my screen when we do our event. So when I click on, this is my screen, the admin screen. When I click on activities, these are all the different activities we have for events. So when I want to highlight something, so if I want Mysterious 12 to be our upcoming event, once I click on this, it will show up on everyone's phones. That's it. So one of the latest ones we developed was called Spark Sessions. And the way Spark Sessions works is that imagine like speed dating setup. It's not speed dating, but imagine you're sitting across from someone one on one. And during the one on one, you'll be given actual questions, not questions, scenarios that you will be discussing with this person. So let's actually break it down exactly what the scenario is. So I'm going to click on Spark Sessions and I'll give you here. Sorry. It says you and your spouse are discussing social preferences. One of you enjoys hosting weekly gatherings with friends and family while the other prefers quiet evenings at home. Now, this could be a very normal thing, a challenge a husband and wife may have. One of you may be much more of an introvert, one is much more of an extrovert. So an extrovert likes to be around more people. An introvert likes to recharge by themselves or have few friends that they're very close with. Now, they don't like big fans of big gatherings. So imagine an introvert and extrovert who love each other, married to each other. How do you deal with that challenge? And the problem we have oftentimes with our Muslim community is that we have people who are attracted to each other, who married each other, and they just have a hard time getting on the same page. And the problem is a lot of people rush to divorce with this instead of trying making it work. So what we do in this situation is you're gonna be sitting across from somebody and scenarios will pop up on your phone. And this is your first one. So you're going to pretend you each take one side of this. Let's pretend I'm the introvert, you're the extrovert, or whatever. Maybe we're both really introvert extroverts. And let's discuss how, as a couple, we would try to figure this thing out. And you have 3 minutes to figure this out. So you're basically like almost in an argument or a conflict. And then you can figure out, can I resolve conflict with this person? Then what's going to happen is the buzzers will go off. You're going to rotate to a new person, and now you have a new conflict. And here's your new conflict with the new person you just spent 10 seconds. Your in-laws have strong opinions about how you should be raising your children and how you've been increasingly vocal about it. One of you wants to address these concerns directly, while the other prefers to avoid possible conflict. So now you have your parents or their parents involved in the way that you guys are raising your children, and they're stepping outside their boundaries. So one of you says, we need to go talk to our parents. One of you says, no, 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 this is kind of avoid it type of thing. How do you deal with this? Again, this could be a very common issue that can come up in marriage. Then you rotate it again. Let's go one more example. You and your spouse are deciding on your next home. One of you wants a spacious suburban home with a long commute because says, look, I'd rather have a bigger place and I'll travel further. And then one of you prefers a smaller apartment near the city for both workplaces because look, this is more convenient. I don't care about how big our home is or how big our apartment is. I'd rather have convenience. So one of you values convenience, one of you values spaciousness, but you guys are on a different page. How do you come up with the conclusion? And I know what most people say, oh, we'll make decisions together. You know, whenever I say who's going to be how you guys can decide things as a couple. We'll figure it out. Well, let's see how well you guys figure it out. Because I'm gonna give you real stuff that sounds very real, by the way, that may come up in your marriage and see, can you figure it out with this person? Because once you get married, it's too late to say, oh, let's see if we can resolve conflict. Let's see if we can resolve these things right now. So now you're gonna keep rotating with people, and each time a different one pops up, and there's 25 of these. And we're not gonna obviously rotate 25 times, but you are going to be rotating, see if I can resolve conflict. And now somebody which you really, really vibe with, but is not normally what you were looking for in a spouse, then you have to ask yourself, is this a better person for me or someone who I'm just surface level attracted to and that's going to end up in divorce in a few years? Because no matter how beautiful or handsome somebody is, if you guys cannot resolve conflict and you cannot resolve challenges, you're not going to stay married. That's the challenge we have with our Muslim community. It's not people are divorcing each other because they don't find each other attractive. It's usually the issue is that they don't have the deep connection. And one of the major challenges Muslims have with each other, not just Muslims, non-Muslims as well, is being able to resolve conflict. So why is we doing this activity? So you can figure out who you work really well with and who you're okay with and who there's no way I can talk to you. You are yelling at me. I just met you. Why are you yelling at me? So it's like, you're like, oh, alhamdulillah, because this marriage only lasts 3 minutes. Because if after 3 minutes you rotate to a new person, so you're like, if it doesn't work out, it's a 3 minute marriage. It doesn't cost you guys any emotional pain, any financial pain, any kind of divorce pain. This is so much. And people like who've gone through divorce, they're like, man, I wish I had this before. And these are the reasons why we design these activities. Every one of these activities has put thought into it. So you can tell it's not just mingling, there's reason behind it. So hopefully that answers your question regarding how Spark Sessions works.
Okay, beautiful. Jazakallah khairan for that very in-depth answer. So we had a Google form, and there were some questions that were submitted to the Google form. So I'm just going to pull that up. Um, so one of the questions here was how to register to the event without money enrollment, and how long do we have to pay? Can we do free virtual and free in-person information? So I don't know if that means like the money enrollment is about the HOD event in person, or they're talking about the membership that you pay online.
So I'll answer both in both ways. So if you've not member Half Our Deen, we'll give you membership, a trial membership on Half Our Deen. We're not trying to get everyone to sign up on HOD. We just know that you need that to provide depth, right? So people can learn more about you. So if you're not a member of Half Our Deen, we do give you free trial membership just so you can participate in the program. If you want to stay on afterwards, don't do anything after whatever trial period ends, and then they don't put you into Half Our Deen. Otherwise, you can cancel. There's no one's going to contact you or hassle you or any of that kind of stuff. So you're not on some type of spam list. Um, as far as the event itself, if the question is regarding the event itself, if you apply for an event, you don't pay for it. All you're doing is applying. And as I said, around 28% of people who apply actually get a seat. It's not that we choose, it is the attendees who are applying are choosing. First of all, we need a one-to-one ratio between males and females, right? Second, we have to take a priority on who's signing up first. Third is we're trying to find the people within the age ranges that are similar to you. So I may be a 50-year-old man applying for this event. And if the average person at this event is in their 20s, they're not looking for me, and most likely I'm not looking for them. So it's not that the organization is rejecting me. It's just like the people who are applying for this specific event on this specific day in July are not the people that are within my age range. Now, what's interesting is every single time we do different events at MCC, even though we've done 10 events so far, is different faces. Some people we will see like, oh, I've seen this person before, but generally you'll see new faces at every single event. So you never know who's applying for that specific event. And so I always encourage people to apply and see what happens, and maybe the right person comes, because we're not trying to force you to come. We're trying to make sure that we actually have someone that you're looking for. And sometimes people like us, do you have at least one person I'm looking for? Well, yeah, but you're not spending 3 hours with one person. The key is for you to at least rotate once with table to table, and then the whole room does activities kind of together. And in Spark sessions, you got to almost talk to most of the people, at least that are open to your age range. That's the whole thing. If everybody is open to everybody, everyone's going to rotate to everybody. Everyone's going to be doing Spark sessions with everybody. But I'm not the one to decide that. It's you that decide that. So anyways, going back to your question about payment, only if you get accepted, the organizer will contact you and say, put in a payment request. They're looking at all the applications of people who've applied so far, and they look at it in that aspect.
Okay, Jazakallah khairan. This one is a little lengthier. They wrote, I know that you try and keep the ratio between men and women as well as age preferences in mind when hosting these events, but what are some things you are doing to try to provide events for people who don't ever make these cuts? The people who are probably struggling even more to find a match. For example, women over 40. Men and their age preferences almost always put preferences as under 40, even if they are over 50 themselves. What are some things that you are doing to help these women out? And also, young men who want to get married young for Islamic reasons, we should encourage that, but they can't find females their own age because those females want more established men. So I guess it's a two-parter question.
Yeah, so that's very good. So I realize that even though I have trying to set up to make it for everybody to come, I don't choose, they do. And you're 100% right. It's like, what do we do to try to change this? Because yes, we're giving the power into the hands of the people, but they have their own sometimes unrealistic expectations. Even the guy who's in his 50s wants to marry a 20-year-old. He doesn't understand. And I've spoken to many guys who are older. They don't, whatever, I can't even get to their heads that this 20-year-old is not looking for someone that's older than her dad. She's not even looking that direction. She's not even considering that. So what they'll do is they'll respond with, "Hey, there's this example of Brad Pitt who married so and so," or I'm like, "That's a famous actor who's a multimillionaire. And are you a famous actor who's a multimillionaire and who's an exception? For every one Brad Pitt that you know, there's 1,000 that are not Brad Pitt or whatever, situation Tom Brady's or whatever, that are no one's interested in. And that girl may be in a different situation. Doesn't mean every single girl in her 20s can marry that person. So it's kind of like sometimes people find the one exception and they want to make that as a common rule, and it doesn't work. So what I'm trying to do is change the mindset. And that's why I've been trying to lean more towards doing workshops. And even with this, I was trying to do a workshop, but we don't have enough interest in a workshop because people just want to go to events. But as I've been trying to do more and more workshops, in the workshop, I'm trying to change the way people think by giving an alternative perspective to look at. See, we can give all the speeches we want. Oh, you guys should do this. You guys should do that. You guys should be doing this. But all that's been going through one ear out the other. Instead, what I'm trying to do is use logic and reasoning with people that are sometimes not using logic and reasoning to show them that, hey, this is a method that will most likely get you to your goal. Because all these guys who have these preferences, you'll notice they also have this one thing they all have in common. They're all single. So if there's this huge demand of these young 20-year-olds want to marry 50-year-olds, where are they? I mean, outside of the singles event, why aren't they contacting you on Salams or Muzz or whatever? They're not. So coming to a live event or going online, if it's making no difference, in reality, the reality is they're not looking for you. And the problem is that no one wants to tell them that directly. It sounds too harsh, right? So, and organizers are not going to tell them that because they want to take their money. So what I'm trying to do is I'd rather be honest and straightforward and tell you the truth than to just take someone's money and say, give you false hope. So I'm part of like what you guys don't see, which is invisible. I was like, I'm part of a bunch of WhatsApp groups who are just basically all males. And I'm there. And sometimes my wife calls me the dream crusher. She says, "You're crushing people's dreams." I'd rather be honest with them and be straightforward. Other thing I'm trying to do is more workshops and try to explain that, hey, I know what you're looking for, but here's something you're most likely to be successful at. And this is what most likely to get you married for. And what you're looking for may end you in divorce because it may not be compatible. Because what you're not looking at is you're looking at the age and the beauty, but you're not looking at X, Y, Z. That, hey, will this person last more than 5 years? Will they be interested in you when you're 60? You're as old as grandpa. You're getting a senior citizen discount. And they're just barely starting their lives. I mean, and these are things they may not think about at that moment, but now you give them things to consider, and that's how you change perspective. Now, to answer your question regarding what do we do about people who are older, we've tried, even at MCC, to say, are you guys open to do an event where we were doing women 35 plus and men 40 plus? We put this out. We created the flyer. We put in the thing for about 2 months, and we barely got any interest. So I've been asked so many times, will you be open to it? I've done it 3 times, by the way. And by the way, one of them, my friend got married at, the one we did in Columbus. So it works. I just need the community to buy into it. So if you can help us get more interest in people I am willing to do an event only for 35 plus females and only for 40 plus males. But we have to have enough interest in those people that want to come to the event. Because at the end of the day, it's not my event, it's yours. So for me, if I'm doing the activity as a host, it does not make a difference if I'm sitting across from not sitting across, if I'm doing an event for the people who are 25s or 30s or 40s or 50s or even 60s. For me, it's the exact same process I'm going through. I want everyone to get married, not one specific age group. That's why I mentioned earlier, I don't know if you're on the call or not, that I frown upon the idea that organizers decide who gets in as far as age. I think we should allow the attendees to choose. And even then, I'm even making it more flexible. No, I don't think the attendees should be even choosing. I think we should like open this gap, this bracket up, and not ask these very specific questions. What's the exact age you're looking for? Because as I said earlier, what does it? Can you tell like a guy like me? If you put three sisters across from me and say this one's 33, this one's 34, this one's 35, can you tell me which one's 35, which one's 34, which one's 33? And I have to try to guess based on what they look like. I can't tell. I can't. So why am I, where do I get the number 34 from thin air, right? The only exception I will make is when men are looking to have families and women are looking for companionship. Because what I've learned is certain people um, between the ages of like, I'm not certain people. When people are in their early 20s or mid 20s, they're looking more to have families, right? Once they get to their mid 30s, late 30s, they're not looking to have large families anymore. Now they're looking for companionship. So the key is finding people who are on the same wavelength as you and want the same thing in their life as you. But that's the key. Like, how do I find that person who's looking at that part of the relationship? So maybe both of you've already had kids already, and you're past the age of raising families. Now you just want a companion. That's what someone may be looking for. While somebody else that you meet within your age range is looking to have a family. So generally, that person may want to marry someone younger. I don't know because I'm not on that single Muslim market. I'm not speaking to these people on that level. But what I've learned from this is like different people are looking for different things. Is putting the right people together that are looking for similar things to hopefully get some compatibility.
Alhamdulillah. Another question. So this one was, I think you already answered this. So it was what are typical icebreaker activities you do at your events, but we already went over that. Just for the sake of time, just because there's other questions that have come. This one says, I've joined this program 2 to 3 times and I'm starting to see the same faces. Of course, there are always some new people too. Do you still think it's worth attending?
Me personally, I this is why I give advice for everybody. I tell people use every halal means possible. That's the key. I don't know where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put my other half. Like we know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created everything in pairs, but where is our other half? So I don't know if this person comes to this event, when I come next event. Let me give you a story of my friend. For those who remember the brother with the big beard that came and volunteered at the MCC event a few times. And he got to a point like, dude, I think forget it. I'm almost 49 years old at that time. I think he was saying, there's no point. No one's even looking for my age. Like, I'll come and help you volunteer because I want to help people get married. But at this point, it's just useless, right? And I said, look, do whatever you think is best. So that 35 plus event came up in Columbus. And that organization said, listen, we're going to do it. And even then, it was like a large people kept saying, we want one, we want one, we want one. But we only had like 36 people who attended that event. It's not that many people, or 20, not even 20, 30, maybe it's in the 30s, 34, 33 people, something like that event. And he was one of them. And because there's no events for 35 plus, and you guys know this already, for those who are 35 plus, he flew in from Los Angeles. The sister that he ended up meeting at this event, she flew in from Cleveland. I mean, not flew in, she drove 3 hours from Cleveland. So she doesn't live in Columbus. He doesn't live in Columbus. They both traveled to come to an event because they know they don't have events like this. And they both end up meeting, marrying, and they've been married happily since. It's been almost 2 years now. So now the key question here is this: like, for him, is like I told him some advice. Try every halal means possible. Now, I even told him, go to events that are not mine. Don't, I'm not trying to sell you my events. Go and whenever I pitched it to him, he wouldn't do it. And he's like, look, once I come to your events, I don't want to go to these other, I don't want to go there and mingle and waste my time. I don't want to spend money and go talk to a bunch of people that are not even looking for me. So once he sees like the difference, okay, there's surface level and there's depth. I don't want to surface level. Like I'm wasting my time, my effort, and no one's looking for me. Why am I wasting my time? Like I'm not even going to my local event. I send him. I'm the guy who's sending him links to the other people's events. So my goal isn't for you guys to convince you guys to come to Half Ardeen or just come to MCC's event. I want you guys to all the single events that are halal and that are having some type of depth. The challenge we have is I'm trying to convince organizations to do things the right way, and many of them are not interested. They have a completely different perspective. If they don't trust me, I keep saying this about MCC, I'm not saying it just because they're on this call. There are a very, very minority mentality of doing things though, like focusing on success. Most of the organizations I interact with, they're focusing on profit. What makes us the most? And even if it doesn't work. And that's what really hurts me. And you can tell by my voice right now, because the challenge I'm having with these organizations is that they're claimed to be nonprofit and they're just focusing on profit. And it really, really frustrates me. And I'm for profit. Like I get paid when I go and do these events. And I don't understand, if I'm for profit, why am I not prioritizing money and you guys are? So that's what makes me question, are you guys really nonprofit? Because here's the thing. You have people walking out of your event and saying this was a disaster. Not because I didn't meet somebody, but the way you guys have set things up and the way things are and the whole setup is just so embarrassing. But yet you do it over and over and over again. You're not like a two-man team. For those who are not familiar, Half Ardeen is just 4 people that are organizing, doing work. Mariam is the one that handles your customer service calls. Shakir is the one who handles some of the members' questions and trains people for Half Ardeen events and helps organize these events. She's the one you've been contacting. There's me, and there's one person who does our programming, Jonathan. That's it. We don't have 100 people like Muzz and other people. So we're a very, very, very small organization, and none of us work on this full time. All of us do something on the part time. This is not my main job or anything. I just want to do this because I struggled getting married, and I want to do something for people like myself, and I want to provide the alternative for everybody else. And to be honest with you guys, one of the conversations I had with my daughter just 2 days ago is I'm actually slowly thinking about leaving just the entire single Muslim thing, like stop doing events, shut down Half Ardeen, and venture off to something completely different. And the reason why is because I just see so much messed up stuff in the back end. It feels like it's it's purely a business for people. And even when I'm trying to organize with talk to organizations and do these different things, it's kind of like I really don't think a lot of them care about helping people get married. I really don't. And this is why you'll see less and less events on even on Baba Ali. I only have 2 events right now. I'm going to be lowering myself down to just maybe a few events per year. It's frustrating. And now I'm not surprised where every single male, by the way, except for me, is now single running these events. Every single male. So how are you going to help people get married if you yourself, your own service can't help you get married? Explain to me that. Imagine me doing the weight loss thing. Forget marriage. Let's say this is programs into marriage. It's a weight loss thing. I'm teaching people how to lose weight, but I weigh 400 pounds myself. And you're like, wait a second, Baba Ali, if your program really works, your diet really works, why doesn't it work for you? No one's asking that question. So like all these people are now divorced that were helping people get married. And like, wait a second, what's going on here? I'm the last one standing, the last one. You can quote me on this. The last one standing. Something's off. This whole thing is messed up. And I was on a podcast on December. A brother interviewed me, and I tell him, listen, I'll tell you guys the truth. It's rigged. So what do you mean? I said the system is rigged. Dating apps are designed to keep you single. They're not designed to help you get married. Because the more you swipe, the more money they make. Why would they want you to stop swiping? Why would they want in the casinos to get people to stop gambling? They want you to gamble. They want you to leave bankrupt. They want you to stay single. As long as you're single, as long as their numbers grow, they will make more money. Now, I want you to say one last thing here. Think about this. When a website grows from 3 million to 5 million to 7 million to 10 million to 12 million, and they say this is a huge success, then you ask yourself, success for who? Success for me as a single who's been on your process and it doesn't work, or success for you that you happen to figure a way to keep people single so you can keep the 3 million there from last year to add them to the 2 million you got from this year so you have 5 million, to add the entire 5 million to next year so you get 7 million, and to keep everyone single so you can get to 12 million. The boast here is not to say how many we have singles, how many people we can help find matches, and hopefully some depth in those matches. Not just to say, oh, these are just YouTube videos and look how much we're doing and stuff like that. No, that's I think what we're missing within our Muslim community. You know, it's almost like, you know how we do with converts. How many shahadas we gave? MashaAllah, we give 12 shahadas. Where are those converts now? Half of them I never seen ever again. So it's not just giving shahadas to Muslims, to non-Muslims to make them Muslim, inshallah, show them Islam, but it's more important afterwards, having that connection with them. So for me, I'm focusing more on the after, you know. That's why the depth is I care about. This is why I put so much thought into these activities. Again, I don't have to come up with these activities. I can just put you guys in a room and say, okay, just mingle, just do like what everybody else is doing. I'm seriously, the bar is so low, the standard is so low. Like, who am I really competing with when it comes to activities? Nobody has it. So, but the problem is, I'm not care about what those people are doing. We have to do things the right way. But my challenge is, it only works if everyone buys in. Like, I want to do events 35 plus. I can't do it unless 35 plus people apply. And then, even then, as you sister mentioned, the 50-year-old guy really thinks he's going to get a 21-year-old female. If he's delusional that way, what can I do? I have to try to change the mindset, then do the event. And that's why I think the workshops should be valued more than doing single events. Because even during the workshops, you may meet each other. And that's what happened. I did an event in a different masjid. We did a workshop. It was fantastic. And when the negative feedback we got back was like, hey, there was no HOD Live app with this. I'm like, well, I was the one who's pitching HOD Live to everybody. And now you guys say, well, we need that. We need that. Because what happens is, what they didn't realize when I did a workshop is I make my workshops interactive. It's not just me giving a lecture. That's boring. I want
Mm,
to ask questions. Da, da, da. So now you get a chance to raise your hand, participate, give you how you think. And when you're doing all this stuff, people are learning about you. I said, who is that sister in row number 3? Who is that brother in row number 5? Ideally, you want to be able to open your app and just see who that person is and see what their ideas they carry, their priorities, their personality, how compatible you are. And if you want to, you can mark them or message them and do the same scenario as we did with our single events, where you can mark people anonymously, they can mark you, and maybe have some type of open dialogue that allows people to talk to each other. And then if a match happens, it happens. It's a different way of doing single events. So originally for this event, we were trying to do a half workshop and half spark sessions. But again, people are buying into, we want to just do a full matrimonial and not the workshop. They don't see the value in it. They just think, I just need to be put in the room with a bunch of people. Okay. I'm still not going to put in a room with a bunch of people. We're still going to do the activities, but I prefer doing this with the workshop way. But
yeah. Mm. That actually
yeah,
brings another question that someone asked, like, will the singles workshop be rescheduled to a later date?
if there's enough interest, yes.
Okay.
I
Um,
mean, I can leave the form up, and if enough people are interested, I would definitely do it. I value that more.
right. This is just someone who, I mean, I took my sister to join the workshop at the other masjid, and we both left with so much information. And like how Baba Ali said, it was so informative, it was interactive. There was so much like energy and buzzing around the room that you didn't think it's a lecture. It's not a lecture. It wasn't just like, a workshop with PowerPoint slideshows. It was actually so much information that was so valuable. So I really wish that there would be enough interest, because I feel like it would be very beneficial for the community.
Yeah, you know, one thing is that a lot of times people think of workshops, and it's the same thing I have with single events. People
Right.
compare them to previous workshops maybe they attended or they heard of, and it's mostly about, hey, work on yourself. So the content that you saw at that workshop is very different than the typical content. If you remember any of it, we talked about red flags and green flags of like I'll give you guys an example. One thing we did in that workshop. And by the way, every kind of workshop I try to do new content. So if someone's been to 3 of my workshops, the 4th workshop will be new content. It's not, oh, I've been to your workshop, it's the exact same thing over and over again. So one workshop, the one we did, the last one she's mentioning, is that I would bring up a scenario. I said, this is a guy that you met or a girl that you met at a singles event. And this is the thing about them. So it'll break down some, like one paragraph about the way they do things. And now I said, what do you think? What are some red flags? And everyone raise their hand. Oh, I know a red flag. There's something like this and this. I said, fantastic. Now tell me any green flags you see about them. And you can hear a pin drop in the room. I said, wait a second. You guys are so quickly to catch all the red flags. Is there anything good about them? And then finally someone raises their hand. I guess, when you think about it, the person happens to be very generous because even though they're giving a lot of their money away, they're very generous about it. Okay, anything else? Somebody else will say, oh yes, the person who's giving all this money away, at least they trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because they know they're getting reward for it. Okay, so he's trust Allah, he's very generous. Anything else? So this is how it goes. It's like, wait a second, all the stuff you would not normally see. And the reason I'm doing this is why? Is because you may meet someone at a singles event outside of this workshop and you just see the parts that you don't like, but you're missing all the great things about them. So going back to the example we used earlier, like someone's age, you just see the age. You don't see anything else. And I'm trying to open your eyes to see everything else and then make a decision that, okay, this person's not a match for me. That's all I'm trying to do. Change your perspective. And that's using that activity, well, not really an activity, but that thing we did, yeah, maybe an activity in our workshop was what I was trying to do. So that's what I mean by doing a workshop to change people's perspectives. It's not someone giving a lecture and say, this is the way you should be doing things. No, showing you through example that, hey, wow, I never thought about it that way before. You know what I mean? And that's the way I'm trying to change perspective. And during that process, by the way, I tell people, you're probably wondering, where do I meet people who are serious about getting married, who are really like focused on like trying to be a better person, be a better spouse, be what the other opposite gender is looking for. Like, where do I go to find that? And I say, look around you. The people who decided to come into this event today, they could do anything they wanted today. They decided to come to this workshop. These are people who are really serious. These people who care about like learning. That's already separating them from everyone else that's looking out there. Because a lot of people who just talk about stuff, and there's people who actually do. These are people who are doing. They can do anything they want on Saturday morning. They decide to come and learn about getting married and being successful. So, and that's the difference, guys. And I think that's one of the things the workshop does. It'll filter out a bunch of people who are not serious versus those who are.
Right. Absolutely. This question is, I appreciate all the new features and detailed compatibility design, but what is your strategy to get more guys to sign up, especially older and divorced brothers? Which makes me wonder, what is the actual percentage of women to men on your site?
On the site, actually, look, you could actually do a share screen again. So let's go to HOD stats. So here's events. Every single event that we do, we show what percentage, what event we are, and we're event number. Pleasanton will be event number 97, and Miami will be event number 98. As I said, we're very close to 100 events. So if we go to like previous events, we can actually go down and take a look at any of these events, like in Pleasanton, November 5th. And then this number here will show you what percentage of people matched. This was a high percentage match. It's a 74% people matched. How many people received no stars? 3. So only 3 people received no interest from anybody. And if you look at some of these, some of them will have 0. Some of them will have 9, some will have 6, depending on it. If you look at these numbers, and you'll see the jump. And now look, you'll notice one number that jumped over here is 11. 11 people, there was only 40 people at this event. 11 people found nobody interesting. And which event was this? This is our 35 plus. Here's the one thing that people don't talk about. The older the Muslims are, the less flexible they are. That's a challenge I've noticed from these things. Anyways, so when you go to these events, you can scroll up and it'll tell you like what percentage of people applied that are male, what percentage of people who applied who are female, and the total people who registered who applied, how many people checked in, how many males checked in, how many females checked in. And if you look at the percentage ratio, all this other stuff, you'll see that the average male register and female register is averaging 33 males and 30 females. So what's interesting here is like when you in the hundreds, you'll see it's very, very similar, almost 50-50 when we get them inside the event. And even after the event itself, how many people don't show up because they paid for it, they just don't show up. So if you average out the number of people who are applying for an event, there are 66% of females applying for the event, 40% about, no, this is not correct. This is looking at percentage of female, percentage of male. I think this is something's off over here. It's usually around 60-40. Actually, there is a better data that I can show you. Actually, maybe here. Hold on a second. Stats for copy. Here, as far as age preferences, is it here? Nope. Percentage. If we go to a typical event, I wish I had this ready for you guys, but these are just my stats on my side. But there is a stat number. Okay, here it goes. I think it's here. Okay. So here's the average of 25 events. Okay. This is the age groups of how many people are applying. Again, if you go to our form, it doesn't say you have to be this age to come. It's anyone who wants to apply can apply. What we've noticed is this is the age group of people who are, how many males are applying and how many females are applying. And if you want to break it down by percentage, this is the percentage. So between 41 to 45, 7% happen to be male, 6% of female. So we have less females applying than males that are 41 to 45. 46 plus, we have another 6%, 5%. So this is about 13%. This is about 11%. The bulk of the people applying are not even 18 to 24. The bulk of people applying are happens to be between 25 to about 36. Now this is about 65, 8, 67%. 67% of the people, doesn't mean 100%. 67% is here, and maybe the other 40% are in this other age range. I think if we market it to the right age group, and again, the marketing is I'll need MCC's help, but marketing to your community's age group, and maybe your help too if you get the word out to say, hey, we want to do an event for 35 plus, maybe 35 to 45. Right now, we only have 18% males and 18% females. If you average this, yeah, 18 male percent, about 18%. That's not enough to do an event. We need these numbers to be a little bit higher, and maybe people who are more open to it. But yeah, that's the breakdown. And it went back to the percentage of people who are applying that are males are 34%, 66% female. So a typical event that has 250 people applying, 84 happen to be male, 166 happen to be female. For whatever reason, guys, and I don't know how to explain this, but this maybe require a different discussion. There's a lot less men looking to get married today than ever before. I don't know if it's because of the divorce courts being imbalanced. For men, it was one thing for them to lose their wealth, but more importantly for them is to lose their children. And they feel like the divorce thing is rigged against them. Or it could be the current traditional roles and modern roles that they have currently set up for males and females for marriage. It could be the number of people getting divorced, who's initiating those divorces. It could be all kinds of variables. I'm not a single guy looking to get married, so I can't speak in their behalf. But men are not like, oh, I'm not looking to get married. Like a lot of times I talk to a sister, so I'm not looking to get married. But if you know anyone good, please let me know. So she's saying I'm not actively looking to get married, but if you still know somebody, please let me know. So she is looking, but she prefers she's open to it. That's what I'll say. She's not actively looking, but she's open to getting married. When the man says I'm not looking, he's not looking. Even if you know someone good, I don't need to know. Thanks. I'm good. He's not applying for events. He's not on any single events. Any single websites. He's like disappeared. He's so much disappeared that you get this common question that women constantly ask is like, where are the good men at? Like they've completely like ninjas. They're gone. They've disappeared in the darkness. They're not making announcements. They've been posting stuff on social media. Hey guys, I just want to let everyone know I'm not looking right now. They're not doing all the stuff a lot of women do. They are completely gone. My idea is how do I get those guys back? How do I bring those people back? You know, it's like there's our Muslim communities. We're like, oh, we have to bring more people to the masjid, right? So there's Jummah crowd. There's the Ramadan crowd. There's a 27th day of Ramadan crowd, which is like all these have like numbers, right? My focus is like, how do we get the Eid Muslims to come? The people that you never see at the masjid. Like, who's that lady? Who's that guy? Like, I've never seen this guy in the whole year. I didn't see him Ramadan, never seen him for one Jummah, but he's here for Eid Salah. Like, how do we get those people to come to the masjid? That's my idea. Like, what happened that we disconnected from these people? Some of those things are in my hands. Maybe it's from like activities from other organizations that events from other organizations that were disastrous, so they don't want to come to any more events. So I can try to change their mind. Some of the things maybe through workshops. Some of the things I really need the community to help us bring those people back to our community. I don't know. I wish I had a clear answer for you, but I don't have a clear answer. I'm trying to do what I can through whatever limitations I have in my capacity to make a positive difference within our community. And as I said, I'm the last guy left, last married guy left. So after me, once I leave this single event organization stuff, then it's like whatever is remaining is what you guys have options to. There's not going to be any more HOD live events. So I don't know. I wish I had a straight answer, but I don't. Let me see if I have some questions here in the chat really quick. I think there's interest in here, but there's a level of embarrassment to go to these events. Yeah. So what we try to do with our events is if you come to a half-hour event, one of the challenges we have is people say, where is it? There's no sign. Hey, single event, nothing. So we do it not in the main prayer hall. We have it in the side room. The door is closed. We using the alternative entrance that no one really walks through anyways. You come in, do the event, and you leave through that same door. We don't make an announcement. We don't put your pictures, videos like other organizations do. We're not using you for advertising or marketing. Even on Half Ardeen, if you go to Half Ardeen, you can't see who's on it. You have to join the website. And even when you join, and let's say two sisters join the website that know each other really well, they'll never see each other because you can't even see you can only see the opposite gender. So I did all that for privacy reasons. Now, MCC, when we do it at MCC, we do it for like, because everyone's familiar with the community and stuff like that. And we like to have some blessings that come with having an event at the masjid. But even then, we still have it in that closed doors. And Sister Sahar knows we have the entrance on the other side, and we close the doors, and we don't have like people. There's nobody walking in and out of that room. No one from the community say, "Hey, what's going on in here?" We don't do that. We don't allow people to come in. So we keep the doors closed, and we try to keep it as private as possible. So everyone's there for the same reason. Doesn't say have the same taboo thing that sometimes we think about. I think once you come to one event, you'll see exactly what we're talking about. Inshallah, you'll feel comfortable. I have multiple times people come and say, look, I don't know if I should belong here or not, whatever. And then multiple times people say, look, I found a match here. So I say, look, you have to try every halal means possible. And I hope, inshallah, that if you guys do find it through HOD, you guys keep me in your du'as. All right, men don't want to get married because they don't want to lose half of their wealth in their 50s. Do you know the percentage of women who are willing to sign a prenup? I don't know that. But that's actually a really good question because one of the activities we do at our event is called Split the Seas. In Split the Seas, I ask questions. In those questions, people will split. So to give you a visual of how that activity works is like this. This is a room activity. Everyone stands up in a line. And this is one of the activities we do actually with people standing up. And I say, if you think A, take a step forward. If you think B, stay where you are. So I may ask the question, are you more fair or are you more forgiving? If you happen to be more fair, take 2 steps forward. If you happen to be more forgiving, stay where you are. The room will split. It's usually 50-50. Then I'll ask another question. And again, the questions, there's no right or wrong. You take a step forward, you take back. And what's happening is while people are doing that, they're marking it on their phones as well. So one of the questions I ask, because one of the brothers brought it up, and I can easily add the question to the app, is that, are you open to signing a prenup? If you're open to it, take a step forward. If you're not open to it, take a step back. Now, the reason why you take a step forward is you can get a visual idea what percentage of people think this way. Now, when the activity is finished, we've done about 20 questions so far. I allow people to ask their own questions. Hey, how many people are open to someone from outside same ethnicity, not the same ethnicity, or someone who wears hijab, or who doesn't wear hijab, who does this, or who does that, whatever. Someone who is a divorce, who has a child, or is a divorcee, or whatever. How many people? And you have people going back and forth, taking their step forward. So what happens is when the activity is done, I'm gonna press a button on my phone, and everyone gets each other's results on their phone. And it'll match people by percentage of who matches with you the most. So if you want to look at anyone's question answers, you just click on them, and all their answers to the activity we just did is there, in addition to everything you have on Half RD. So not only with this activity, but multiple activities, you'll see everyone's answers on your phones, even if you didn't do the activity with them. And it breaks it down by percentage. Isn't that cool? So let's say there's a question that you really care about. For example, the prenup question or the divorcee question. How many of you are open to marrying a divorcee, right? Everyone who marked yes, you can click on a button and filter to just those people. So you can see exactly who said yes to this question, who said no to this question. Now imagine how much time that saves you, how valuable that information is to you, rather than you walking around and trying to talk to each person, figuring out how each person thinks. I have it all there and it's done in seconds for you. You have all that, in addition to all that same thing for the other activities, and in addition to Half RD, you have all of this data, all this information to help you make a better decision on what the person you're talking to. Plus, let's say you do find a match with somebody. Now you both have something to go back and look at and say, hey, I noticed on the second activity, the fourth question you answered this way. What is that something important to you, or is that something that you're willing to be open to changing, or like how much weight does that have for you? Anyways, that's hopefully answers that. This true men this uh, feminism has corrupted women's mind. They want everything, want to contribute to everything relationship. This is a sad truth. So feminism is a result, and red pill, by the way, they both, it's funny, interesting. They're both movements that are very, I don't know how to say, they claim to be pro-male or pro-female, right? Feminism pro-female, red pill pro-male, but they both have a lot more in common than they think. Both sides are a result of being hurt from the opposite gender with injustice. So a feminist will say there's been injustice by males from either my father, my brother, the way my dad treated my mom, and now I want justice for my gender. Now red pill will do the same thing, from my ex-wife to my best friend who's getting divorced, or all the injustice I experienced myself. I I now want justice, and I'm never going to allow women to do this, this, and this, and again. So both movements are capitalizing on the emotions of people. And at the end of the day, I feel that this caused us more division than trying to understand each other. More importantly, I feel that what happens is, because we watch one thing on a social media, I'm going to be fed more and more and more and more. And we're not being aware that what we're being fed. So I accidentally may start thinking that all women think this way or all men think this way. And just because I had a bad ex, let's say the person has, male or female, they start assuming that every person may be like this. And the reality is not every person like that. Different people have different experiences that they went through. Their relationship with their parents may be different. Their relationship with their ex may be different. What we are right now is a result of everything we've gone through in our life. All the different experiences, and our understanding of Islam, our relationship with Islam, our relationship with other people, all that is a result. So what your result is, the person you have become today, is all the experiences you've been through, right? The person you haven't met yet, you can't assume what they are until you actually start talking to them. But it gets dangerous when we start making assumptions that everyone's similar. But yeah. But yes, the movements have caused major problems and division within our Muslim Ummah. And I think they're poisons within our Muslim Ummah. And unfortunately, this now here's a bad thing. People assume that because this movement is poison and everything the movement stands for is bad. No, that's not true either. Not everything red pill is bad, not everything feminism is bad. But the majority of the stuff is emotions and nonsense that have made us bitter with the opposite gender. So the question here, sorry, I just joined, my first time joining. What is HOD? HOD means Half RD. It's a short acronym for that. It's a website where it shows compatibility with each person at the, shows a depth of compatibility, shows depth and compatibility. So when people come to an event, each person, you can learn about how compatible you are with that person. And with the different activities, all that information will be added into the app. So by the end of the program, you have all of this information to look at to decide who you think would be a good match for you. And then you have the ability to anonymously like them, and you have the ability to actually message them without anonymous if you want to. So there's no misconnection. It's makes things a little bit more comfortable than people asking for each other's phone numbers when you're not interested in somebody. It removes the ghosting, the rejection in a room full of people. All that stuff is removed. A lot of thought and effort put into it. I don't want to repeat everything, but this call has been recorded. So for those who are interested, Sister Sarah can send you the message of what we discussed today. If there's any other questions,
This one, yeah, wrote, Bismillah, I'm looking for a match for a senior widow in her mid-60s. Do you help senior Muslims?
there is nobody that we don't help, but it's as far as the event itself, generally we don't have people in their mid 60s applying for the event.
Mm-hmm.
Quick information, about 101 people have applied for this event. 73% of the people who've applied for this upcoming event have never been to a Half Ardeen event.
Mm-hmm.
And currently 6 people are flying in, and it's 85% sold out. Those are the numbers that Sister Shakira texted me.
So there'll be a more influx of probably newer faces and newer attendees for this event.
According to what she's messaged, says just for stats, if you want to share about this event, approximately 37% of the people who applied never been to an event and are new to Half Ardeen. We have a lot of first-time attendees for this event.
Mm-hmm.
101 people applied for this, minus the duplicates, makes it to 96. 5 people applied twice, I guess. So 96 people. 6 people are flying in to attend. 85% have been sold out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
By the way, we're very transparent, as you can tell. I try to go to any organization and say, what I can, here's my, quote me on this. Go to any organization and say, what percentage of people found a match at your last event? I can almost promise you, quote me, they'll have no idea. Zero. They don't even keep stats. Let me show you guys something really quick. I'll show you something really quick. You guys, just to give you a sense of like what we do here. And let me click on my share screen. Actually, do I have HUD live here? I think I do. Yes, I do. Oh, I got to click on share first. Share HUD live. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys something really fast. So let's go to our last one in Pleasanton. Shouldn't have that many people, by the way. So let's click on results. And the percentage was only 54% match. Over half the people found a match. This is what I see on my iPad. It breaks, I don't want to show people's faces, but it shows what percent, how many people match, 19, 17 didn't match. So guys, half of you, even if you come to an event, you may not find a match. It's not guaranteed, right? How many people received no stars? Nobody interested in them. How many people were interested in nobody? How many people flew from out of state? Only one from the last event. How many males do we have? How many females do we have? And then if you scroll down, it'll break down of like, who cares about what different things? Like, for example, majority of people were introverts. This is extroverts. This is introverts. And this is kind of like people kind of like in the middle, right? It tells you, well, how many percentage of people finish their quizzes? Like quizzes are like people sitting there answering all those questions. And it shows you like who cares about kindness the most? Who cares about manners the most? One person does. 4 people, patience. We have a breakdown of all these different things. In fact, if I want to click on like this introverts and I want to click on table count, it'll break it down how many people were per table of introverts. Like where were my two introverts happen to be sitting at table number 1. My magentas are broken down to like this. Magentas, 6 of them are at table number 4. Like I have this information that I care about because we track how our events are going. We track who's sitting where and what's happening and what percentage of people match and who matched with who and blah, 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 blah. I care about this stuff because I care about you guys. Like I really do want you guys to find your half. Otherwise, I wouldn't be so passionate, right? I'm not trying to sell you an event that's 85% sold out. I'm trying to sell you the idea of doing things differently with the hopes that maybe we go to our friends and family and say, hey, we have to stop doing the way that it's not working for us anymore. We have to try things that actually work. And maybe we think about things differently, right? And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to change the mindset. So this, I didn't even know our stats. So I was kind of like reading our numbers. Shagir texted me, but I didn't really look at it. And now reading it, so it's already 85% thing. Our whole goal was trying to get more people in the workshop, honestly. I wish we did it maybe our next time we do it. we'll do like this Zoom call ahead of time, and maybe we'll do a mini workshop on Zoom. And if you guys really like what we're doing, imagine the live thing with the real people in the same room, and you guys have these discussions. I think that will see the same value as Sahar did as she came with her sister to the event to see what it's like, to the workshop. So you guys will see the value of it, inshallah, because I really want the MCC community to be successful. Because they're coming to the events, but I think we really do need them to like have discussions about marriage and see how different people think, inshallah.
This question just came in. It was, can you do a histogram of age distribution for both genders that are matching?
uh, Age distribution for both Matt.
For
Oh,
both genders that are matching.
I don't have that. I don't think we pull that data.
Yeah.
What I do have on our stats is what percentage of older women are matching with younger men.
Mm.
We do have that, but what percentage of people are matching based on age? I don't have that information. Maybe we can be, maybe something I can add to the app. But if you're thinking about if it's older people match or younger people match, what I've discovered is more to do. It's not less to do with your age. It's more to do with your mindset. There are people who are more open-minded, are more easier. And I'll tell you, as an older person myself, the older we become, the less we can tolerate nonsense. The
Mhm.
more rigid we become with the ideas we carry, and less we like a less flexibility. When you're young, you'll give up your peace for other things, right? But when you get older, you're like, I'd rather not deal with the nonsense. I'd rather be single than to deal with the drama or the craziness and stuff like that. So it's just your different perspectives on different things you've gone through. I don't think age would be a deciding factor. So if there's a person who'll be your exact same age as you, they're more open-minded or less open-minded, they're gonna make a big difference. So it's kind of like what's your flexibility with? So if I'm more flexible, like someone who's my age or a few years younger than what I'm looking for, older than I'm looking for, it opens more doors for me. Somebody who doesn't be like, let's say, like for example, let's say you're a 40-year-old female, but you only want someone within your ethnicity. Suddenly your pool of candidates lower. I only want a doctor because I'm a doctor. Well, your pool of candidates lower. Has nothing to do with your age. Your other preferences will have a lot more weight than what your age is. Did I find a match or not? That's what I'm trying to say. Maybe that's one of the reasons why we never organize that specific stat. Because as I said earlier in this call, we put so much weight on age when reality is the only reason that it has so much weight is because we put it on it. When I speak to people, they're not walking around, who are the 35s? Who are the 35-year-olds? They're not talking like that. They once they get to an event, they have other things that they're looking at. They're not walking. It's before the event, we value age. And to be fair, I fell into the same trap. So when I started doing Half Our Dean, I said, okay, what are we supposed to put on the drop downs? We have to put ethnicity, we have to put age. I'm not thinking to myself, why do we have to do all this stuff we were saying? Oh, because everybody else is doing it. Well, just because everyone's doing something doesn't mean it's right. So if you go to any search of any website, including Half Our Dean, you have the option of age. Why do we put so much weight on age? Why don't we like that? And I started thinking a little bit differently. I said, look, we should allow people to search by personality type. No one does that. We should allow people to search by interests, how many interests you have in common. No one does that. Let's do other things. Like, and soon I may add like search by love languages. Someone has a similar love language as me. Someone has this. Why do we put so much on ethnicity and age? Why don't we put it on other stuff? So I just removed it. Like I removed stuff like divorce status. Why do I have to identify who's divorced, who's not? That's not my business to identify. Let them identify themselves at their own way they want to identify it. Why do they have to be walking around with like a letter D on their name badge that says I'm divorced? So what? But that's the way everyone else does it. I don't care. That everyone else is doing. How's their stats working out for them? What percentage of people are on like Muzz right now, and what percentage of people are actually getting married? Let's be honest here. Just for funsies, guys, all you have to do is do this. This is what we'll do last thing here on this call. All right. So let's go to my share screen again. This time I'm sharing. Okay. Let's go to this is just for funsies. You go to muzz.com. I just for fun. You go to their website. This is the number they show. They said we have 15 million Muslims on looking for love and 600,000 success stories. They, oh, that's interesting. So it sounds like a really big number. Then you take the number, you put your little calculator out. Hopefully you guys can all see my calculator here. You take your 600,000 and divide it by your 15 million, and you have 0.04%. What does that tell you? Isn't that 96% failure rating, guys? 96? If I'm doing the math right. What are we doing here, guys? Seriously, what are we doing? We're like boasting, and now you're boasting about it. 0.04? So all we look at 600,000. Yeah, 600,000 in perspective of 15 million. And they were just recently at 12 million. How did you get another 3 million? Is it because you have 15 million new people? No, you've kept the 12 million that weren't finding anybody and added 3 million on top of that from last year's growth. If we have so many websites and so many people that you have access to, I have one question to ask everyone just to think about when you guys are leaving this call today. Why is it that no one can find anyone? Your grandparents didn't have any of these options, yet they found somebody. Your great grandparents found somebody. Your parents found somebody. You have millions of people, and you're like, I can't find anybody. Because it wasn't designed to help you get married. It was designed to help you keep you single. Oh man, it's tough. It's tough battle. But alhamdulillah, you guys, as I said, you guys have a community like MCC that actually cares. That's a blessing. I don't think you guys may understand it because you're probably living in the community, so it's just become accustomed to it. But I'm telling you, I've traveled all different parts of the United States. I have traveled when I was Baba Ali for Europe, from Singapore to Malaysia to Germany to all these different places. Not Germany, but all these different places. And it's MCC is very rare that they care this much about your community, that they care about depth in this way. So it's not just this program. I was watching some of the other stuff they do for you guys. It's a blessing to have this as your community. So say alhamdulillah. Anything else, Sister Sahar, before we end the call here?
Alhamdulillah, I think we hit all the questions in the Google form as well as the ones in the chat box, I believe. So, like, we mentioned this webinar will be recorded or is recorded so everyone can go back and, any questions that if someone submitted it and they weren't here to attend, it is recorded so they can inshallah go back and watch it. But I think everything has been covered from the website to what the event will look like, inshallah. So just to reiterate it, for those that have not applied yet, is there still time for them to submit an application?
Yes, there's 15% of the window that's still open. So please try to apply. And if you don't get in, we can try to contact you if we do another event. If we do another event, inshallah, sometime later this year. If we do something, it'll probably be November, December-ish, inshallah, at MCC. But then at least we can give you a heads up and you can apply early for that one. The other thing I just want to mention is as we are doing all our programs and the different people I've interacted with, you have to have realistic expectations of what you're looking for. If you're unrealistic expectations, you're going to be stuck alone. And this is a hard truth that a lot of people see. We surround ourselves sometimes with friends that says, hey, you know what? You can get everything you want. You can get everything you need. And these are a lot of people who are giving advice. They themselves have absolutely no idea because they're not single and they're not looking to get married. And if they are single, they'll probably stay single. And if they are married, they haven't been in the single market forever. They don't understand the dynamics of things have changed. The reality is that we have people you're speaking to oftentimes that have these preferences, and realistically, like let's say for example, and I did this with Sheikh Muhammad Faqih. I had him one time. We went out for lunch together, and we were talking, and we're about singles, helping them get married. And he said one time someone came to me and gave me a list about this long of all the stuff I want in a spouse. And he gave it to me, can you find me a spouse? And it's almost like a shopping list, right? And what he did was very interesting. He told me, I gave the list right back to the person and I told them, I want you to think about and ask yourself, this person who has all of these qualities, what type of spouse would they want? And they'll think to themselves, okay. So I want you to think about that for a moment. That spouse, You have to become that spouse. Now, what if I can't become that spouse? Then you're not going to get this person. So it does. The goal here isn't writing a wish list of all the stuff I want and having unrealistic expectations. That doesn't help us get to our goal. That helps us stay single. The thing I have to be realistic. Listen, I am a package. There are some really good things about me. There's some okay things about me, and there's some things that I need to work on. That's a package that someone has to accept if they want to marry me. The key is that whoever's going to marry has to accept this whole package. Now, if I'm going to marry you, I have to accept all of your package, whatever good or bad things that come with you, whatever things that are considered attractive in today's society today, things that are not so attractive about you. I have to accept the package. You just having a lot of preferences doesn't make you marriage material. You being reasonable makes you marriage material. So if you can accept my package for everything I come with, I can accept your package, everything you come with, then we're more likely to be a compatible couple. Otherwise, we can all walk around with these unrealistic expectations of what we want in a spouse, and we're all going to stay single. And no one's going to tell you the truth because they're trying to keep you single because they want you to keep swiping. If they keep you realistic, you're going to get married, leave their website, and then they have people they need to replace you with because their profits are going to drop. You see what I'm talking about? I don't care about that stuff. That's why I'm willing to walk away from the whole thing completely. I'm really going to work on something else, like maybe children's programming or something. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you guys the truth of what it is. This is a system the way it is. We need you guys, everyone, to become more realistic. Now, I've designed some activity that you guys can try to do this on your own, and I just let me see if I can get this share with you guys something. I just made this last night. So I thought of an activity, what I can do to give people an idea of what type of spouse you can possibly end up marrying. And I'm going to share it in the chat here with everybody. And here's it's a chat GPT I designed where it gives you 60 points to make a spouse. And first I'll ask you, are you male or female? So click on the prompt, choose are you male or female, and I'll give you 60 points to spend any way you like. Okay? So when you click on it, if you're a male, it'll give you certain things that males are looking for. If you're a female, it'll give you certain things that females are looking for. So let's say, okay, for example, female. Oh, you're a female. Okay, fantastic. Okay, height. How important is that to you? A scale of 1 through 10. Then you give a number, right? Now, you only have 60 points to spend. So if you spend it all on height, if you spend 10 points on height, you get the perfect height that you're looking for, but then you're only left with 50 points left. It's almost like $60. You got $60 to spend. If you spend it all on one thing, then you're not going to spend too much on everything else. So be careful on how you spend. Now, if you give something a 10, you get exactly what you're looking for. If you give something a 1, you get the opposite of what you're looking for. And if you give something a 5, it's not something that you like, it's something that you dislike. So spend it any way you like. So let's say, for example, woman chooses height. So she can get 6'2" or above. Perfect. That's exactly what she was looking for. But if she chooses 5, he doesn't get 6'1". No. A 5, a scale of 1 through 10, will give you exact same height as you. You're like, well, that's not what I want. But I can't, that's a compromise for me. Yes, that's what a 5 is. It's a compromise. A 1 would be he's 3-4 inches shorter than you. Then, okay. So you're going to be given different things of what you're looking for. His sincerity, his financial wealth, his this, all that stuff, right? You will choose all what you give in different categories. And then after it's all said and done, the GPT will tell you what type of husband you'll be marrying and what marriage life will be like. Now, for the brothers, it's the same thing. But your words are different than hers. You don't have height as one of your things. You have other things that you're looking for, right? So you'll give different things. How beautiful she is, how athletic she is, how homemaking skills, whatever stuff men are interested in. You give different categories and you're going to realize that no matter what, you can't get the perfect female either because she may have something exceptional, but then she's missing something else. And what reality, this whole thing does, it brings into more reality of what type of female or male that you're going to end up getting and what type of package that comes with, because you can't get everything from that person. What this community lies to us is not community, the social media lies to us is it tells you can get everything you want. And that's not true. Everybody comes in a package, just like I mentioned just a minute ago. We all do. We all have our pluses and minuses. So you're going to choose whatever plus you want. Now this is different. I'm giving your dream. You choose your pluses, but it comes at a price. So try that activity. It's free. I put in the chat right there. Copy and paste that before this Zoom call ends. Give it a shot. These are just an example of different things I do with the Muslim community. And one more thing maybe I'll share with you guys to do, and I'll share this with you guys really quick because I think this would be valuable. Actually, maybe I'll share it at a different time because I don't want to waste too much time here. But I have something called a profile upgrade. See, oftentimes when you guys are speaking certain words, you are saying things that the opposite gender may understand differently. So what I did is I designed a profile upgrade. What it takes your entire profile, the way you are saying things, and you put that into the profile upgrade and you press enter, and it will translate it in the language of the opposite gender so they understand it the way what the message you're trying to say. Like, for example, a lot of women will say, I'm strong and independent. Have you noticed not one, I'm saying one male has ever said, I'm strong and independent? But you hear no shortage of women saying it. The reason why is because men don't use those words because they take the words literally. In fact, the word independent means something that doesn't need something else, is independent of that. So as a male, when I hear the word independent, I said there's no female I've ever met that's independent. The only one, not even a male that's independent, the only one that's independent is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's independent of his creation. That's independent. So when I hear the word independent, I hear the words, I don't need you. So when a woman uses the word independent, she has a different perspective. She's saying, I'm not dependent on you. Don't worry, I'm here to push in my way too, to do my part. But a male hears something completely different. So sometimes the words that you're using, that's an example, that you're using, you're pushing people away while you're thinking why people are not being pulled towards me. So males do the same thing, females do the same thing. So I designed something called a profile upgrade. And let me, you know what, since I'm talking about it now, I need to go find it for you guys really fast. And I'm going to share that with you guys. Again, these are just some of the things that I've designed to, and I'm doing a bunch of stuff. I designed one that helps you ask, it designs questions psychologically. So you can, by the way, you can search for these things if you go to the GPT store. This is the profile upgrade. The GPT store that will type in Ali Ardekani or Baba Ali, I think might be under, and then you'll find these things. I put it there for everybody. And again, these are not just for Hafardine people. My goal isn't just to like sell Hafardine. I want to get everyone to get married, even if you use a different app or a different website or a different event. That's why I put these things for free. This is why I put my time into all this stuff. This is why I'm on the Zoom call right now. All right, without any further ado, I think we're at the end of this call, Sisahar. Hopefully this is recorded, and inshallah, is it recorded? It is recorded, I think.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah,
Okay.
it is recorded, inshallah. So, thank you
So
so
just
much,
share.
Baba Ali, for your time, for taking time out of your weekend, to come here. We said it would be an hour, but we're almost at 2 hours. So,
Yeah.
alhamdulillah, thank you for your time. Thank you for answering the questions. And so if anyone has any questions, they can always reach out to us at MCC, Sister Arjumand or me, and we'll be happy to answer any questions we can, inshallah. And like he said, spread the word. If you know anyone that would like to join, send them the links for the event, the flyer, and just tell them to keep themselves, updated, inshallah, because like we mentioned, there'll be another one later this year, but it's not confirmed yet. So
Yeah. And I would love to have a 35 plus only event. That'd
yeah,
be amazing. Right now, 35 plus still come to the event, by the way, but we have them at different tables and they're rotating with each other.
right,
So we're not like saying, oh, it's only for young people. No, we have everyone's open to, it's open for everybody. So,
right.
but if we have enough people to do it exclusive just for that age group, that'll be fantastic too, inshallah.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Jazakallah
Okay.
khairan for your time.
Okay.
Thank you for all those who have attended. Take care. Have a good rest of your day, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu
Assalamu
alaikum.
alaikum.